The left actually wants to win back young men. All they gotta do is be about the equality that they say they for. In an equal world, like y'all say y'all for, if women can opt out of parenthood via adoption or abortion, then men should be able to opt out of parenthood via signing some papers to say, I don't want to be financially responsible. Get rid of 50-50 splits for divorce. You leave with what you worked for. Make it so that women have to register for the draft to vote, and make it so that all the tests to be police officers, firefighters, joining the military are equal. You don't get special privileges and lower scores if you're a woman. Matter of fact, get rid of the whole WNBA, because women having their own separate league is inherently sexist. Why do women get their own league? Make it so that there's only one league and only the best basketball players can play, and watch female sports die off. Get rid of ladies' nights, female-only gyms, get rid of all that stuff, because that's not equality. If the Democrats actually believed in equality, then they might get some men back, but this whole equal rights, but only when it benefits women thing, just ain't gonna cut it.
That nigga got a point.
What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Ron, back with another video. If you're new to the platform, welcome to the tribe. By the end of this video, I hope you subscribe. Man, I tell you, bro, this right here, this is embarrassing, man. This is really, really embarrassing. Yo, like, are we really doing this? They want to spend $20 million to try to figure out how to get the male voters back, the young ones in particular. This, bro, how about you keep that 20 million, invested in, I don't know, maybe the infrastructure, for crying out loud, since we got these other countries that are far superior than us when it comes to infrastructure. Take that 20 million and invest it in that. Invest it into our country. Because you do not need to be spending no damn $20 million just to talk to men and understand where they're coming from. Really, all you got to do is just go outside or hop on your phone and go on the internet and see for yourself. Hell, shit. Watch some RP content, but that's going to be too controversial. But anyway, supposedly that's what they're doing. And I honestly, in my opinion, I find this quite laughable. And even some women seem to find it laughable as well. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it.
Operation Sam. I swear to God, you cannot make this one up. So the Democratic Party is spending $20 million on a man problem. So young men are fleeing the party in droves, and they're dropping 20 mil to come up with Operation Sam, speaking with American men. I mean, they think that a left-wing Joe Rogan and wearing beards and swearing a lot is going to get it done. Take a look.
They're going to see it at the next ballot box.
Yeah, and they did have a meeting Friday. It was called Come to Jesus
This is not it, kiddo. It's the one, it's the Jesse Waters clip where you have the Democrats literally swearing in swift succession. But we don't even need to find it. I can tell you basically what happens is they just are suddenly swearing like sailors. Pete Buttigieg is in a beard.
And a flannel shirt.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
They
it's
always
like
go straight
trying
to
to find a left-wing Joe Rogan.
The McKinsey consultant is really a man's
It is
man.
ridiculous.
You know what? It's funny that they mentioned Joe Rogan. And I think the reason why is because the current president went on that show before he became president. And Kamala Harris didn't go on that show. There was sayings and rumblings about him going on podcasts like that, and along with other things that he did, might have helped him win over the young voters, because a lot of young people do watch Joe Rogan. I've only watched like clips, but he's had people on there that I do. I don't want to say follow or anything, but like I know, like I've seen the clips where he had David Goggins on there. And the crazy thing about it, I'm not even a big David Goggins fan either, but it's like, if you ever feel like you need a pick me up or you don't feel motivated, dude, watch a David Goggins. Or he had CT Fletcher on there. And I think those are the type of men that you are starting to see more men, especially younger men, gravitate towards, bro, because I hate to say it, man, but that's what masculinity looks like to men. In my opinion, I'm just saying. I know everybody ain't gonna be a fan of those guys, but you know, it is what it is. But let's keep it moving.
So, Alindy, again, you would know this better than anyone else. So why don't you tell us what the hell is going on and how we got here?
You really can't make this shit up. These sorts of things, these boondoggles, that goes right into the pockets of consultants, by the way. And it's the same group of people. They move from one campaign to the next. It doesn't matter if they win or lose, they're still going to cash that paycheck. And that's why they had like advertising down here in Ruby Red, Florida. It's because they don't care if the candidate wins. They're still going to make that dollar. And so they're spending $20 million on some sort of anthropological study of American men. Why don't they actually go out there and meet them?
Yeah, talk to them, get to know them, understand what their frustrations are.
For how many years?
Exactly.
I want to weigh in on that in a second, but they've already put out their initial findings because they've done like 30 focus groups.
This.
Oh, let me tell you.
Let me tell you. This is our third girl today. Anna is fired up.
It's so embarrassing because by releasing their initial findings, it's become abundantly clear that the Democratic Party is really, really out of touch with men. Like, they have no idea what the concerns of men have been, especially young men.
Yep.
So, for instance, one of their initial findings was like, oh, wow, it turns out that young men are economically frustrated. They don't see a path forward for themselves, and they really want to establish like a family. They don't feel that they can afford it. Can you believe that? That's how they're feeling. Yes, I can believe that. Yes, I can believe that. Yeah. Of course, so many people in this country, young people, just want to experience the normal milestones that previous generations were able to experience, but it's become so incredibly difficult. The job market being what it is, I know the Biden administration was touting their low unemployment rate. However, what is the quality of those jobs? They're not good jobs. They're part-time jobs, construction jobs that are temporary, and it doesn't take into account the large swaths of young men who have given up on even looking for work, right? So that frustration exists. And then on top of that, to your point, Jillian, the messaging from the Democratic Party has basically just demonized men in general, as opposed to judging individuals who engage in bad behavior.
One example that really comes to mind, and bruh, he had got so much pushback when he did this. And when it happened, I was literally over here like this, face palm emoji. I was like, bro, I know this man just did not say that, especially to the black male voters. When Obama literally said, if y'all vote for that man, you this, you that, it was like, I was like, bro, you should have did that. That was so dumb, bro. That was so dumb. I was like, bro, you're literally pushing people over there to vote that way. The sign language ain't gonna work. It's not gonna work. Hell, you might be able to thank Kevin Samuels for that too, even though he didn't mean to teach everybody that for the sake of politics. It was more related to relationships. But yeah, that's not gonna work anymore, bro. It's not.
Right. That's absolutely right, Anna. And I also add, the Me Too movement has become this crazy hyena witch hunt that men are afraid. They're now afraid to hug us. They're afraid to call us like, I actually have no problem with being called sweetheart. Call me that all day long. I don't care. And they're so terrified of making a wrong move and suddenly being called out for sexual harassment. The Me Too movement is actually one of the worst things that have happened in the past 10 years.
You know what it is like Democrats, it seems like they really try to play on the emotions of people. They're not too good when it comes to logic and breaking down their policy. So they always go with these emotive issues that try to make people feel something. So they do the virtue signaling with the LGBT community, right? They do women's reproductive health with abortion. They do the fear of the end of democracy, which is ironic given the fact that they completely bypass their democratic process, right? But they lean on these emotional issues, and men are naturally more logical than women, so of course they're not going to jive with it. Am I surprised they're putting out this campaign? Absolutely not. Nat, could we actually play this really quickly? I just sent you something on Slack. Do you guys remember this campaign that Harris and Walls put out right coming up to the head of the election?
Yeah. Oh, no.
This was what they put out to try to say, hey, man, we get you. I'm a man's man. Like, do you have that one there, Nat? Cool.
Oh my God, I'm afraid. I'm scared.
Do you remember this thing?
Yes,
Oh, no.
I do remember
Oh my
this.
God, I've not seen this.
I have secondhand embarrassment.
Stop. I've had enough. Oh, is the volume not playing?
Man enough.
Yep.
Are you man enough to vote for a woman? Is that the manipulation?
Exactly.
Yeah,
And here, well, the ironic thing is they have them dressed like super masculine. Look at how one of these guys is sitting. It's like, they were like, this is how men sit. It's like he had to be told, look.
Oh my
Except
God.
for those two little girls in The
so
Shining.
natural.
But I'm more afraid of just The Shining in general, the movie. It's not because they're girls. I think you get what I'm saying.
I'm man enough to support women.
And I'm man enough to help them win.
Okay.
Yeah, no wonder they need.
Yeah, I remember that shit. And I had the exact same reaction I'm having now when I saw that shit. Especially the part when they said I ain't afraid of bears. Because I immediately thought about that man versus bear conversation that started about a year ago. I was like, or what, last 6 to 9 months, I was like, oh, I know that they did not just do. Bruh, if that ain't the lamest commercial for for a political party I ever seen, I was like, oh yeah, man, y'all. I was like, yeah, it's a wrap. I'm like, if this is, bro, it was literally, dude, their whole party was literally sign language and entertainment. And the entertainment part, I'm referring to, all the celebrities and shit that they had speaking and performing and shit. Oh my God, I forgot about that shit.
Need to spend some money to figure out how to talk to them. That is insane.
I was in the room when they
man.
first unveiled this ad, and this is the ad that they ran instead of responding to the transgender affirming surgery ad in Pennsylvania.
Wait, I have to ask you, what was everyone's face and reaction
They
when they
loved
played it? Did they actually think
thought
that this
it
was compelling?
amazing. They literally thought it was their golden goose.
That really shows you
They
how
are
out of touch
so
they are.
out of
man.
touch.
Here's why.
And-
Here's why.
Go ahead,
It's
T.
because they don't talk to your
Exactly.
everyday American. They don't go to the middle of the country.
They don't.
They don't want to spend time. And I've said this on Fox News repeatedly. I think the Democrat Party at large is bored with everyday people. I don't think that they find them interesting. I don't think that they find kitchen table issues interesting. I think they find it much more interesting to take a little boy and tell him he's a little girl and have him compete in the triple jump event. I think that they find that intriguing. They love the drag queens. They love to talk about the women's rights, and they love to talk about the Gaza and all, because that stuff excites them. But they are bored with the issues that everyday Americans need to think about and be cognizant of to survive.
That's
They're
precisely
bored with
right.
it.
Okay, Tommy Lauren, I'm not going to let you slide, though. Because I ain't forget about that conversation that you had with Andrew, and he tore your ass up. And you had the nerve to say that men don't want to do this no more, and they don't want to be providers, and they want to sit in their mom's basement and order Uber Eats and just play video games and yada, yada, yada. Yeah, I ain't forget about that. And I think you had that conversation on Fox News as well. And then when Andrew said, okay, what do those men get in return if that's what they do? You literally said nothing. So, I mean, it's cool to be all passionate about this shit, but yeah, I ain't forget about that shit. No, I ain't letting that ride.
They want to be seen as these heroes coming in and swooping down and saving these.
For 2% of people, though. But the rest of everybody, they're like, yeah, you're good. And they're also captivated by the activist class.
Right.
The activists have completely taken over the Democrat Party.
That's
They've convinced them that everybody cares about, wakes up every day and is like, I wonder how the trans are feeling today.
Right.
Well, the people running the show right now can tell you precisely who they are. And honestly, I hate to say it, but it's like people in my socioeconomic class.
Yes.
People who live in
Thank
San
you.
Francisco,
Yes,
in the
that's the
Northeast.
issue.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
know.
They don't run in the same
Exactly.
circles.
And
Live in
you
their
know,
ivory
let me
towers.
tell you where this decision was made. Do you know where it was made? It was in San Francisco Ritz-Carlton.
Oh,
That's
God.
where Sam was
Seriously?
cultivated.
That's
kid
where
you
the
not.
pulse of the working class
Yes,
is.
exactly. And they were dining on these like extremely fancy hors d'oeuvres, sipping on champagne. That is how they germinated Sam speaking with American men. They have
it's
no
not
idea.
just the fact that they're not speaking to American men by prioritizing the issues that you were just mentioning, Tommy. It's the fact that these issues they're prioritizing, some of those things are creating the issues for men in the first place by emasculating them, by telling them that they should be ashamed of their masculinity and their maleness and they shouldn't be leaders in their household.
Okay, see,
they're creating the problem.
You hit the nail on the head in my household. I have a 13-year-old son sitting right over there, and it is like his greatest, happiest moment to get to meet PBD and shake his hand today.
Aww.
When you were 13, were you political?
Yeah, I was.
Okay, I wasn't. You were.
I'm not surprised,
Were you? I mean, I would say the average 13-year-old is not political. And I have a 13-year-old that likes baseball, fishing, and politics. He likes PBD. He likes Joe Rogan. He can't wait to meet Charlie Kirk. And my friends' sons of the same age feel the same. And if you asked him why, it's not because he understands Russia, Ukraine. It's because these are the men that are authentically speaking to him, that he authentically identifies with, that he aspires to be like.
Right.
When not only are the Democrats not doing that, they're not identifying with them, they're not speaking to them authentically, they're denying all of their issues, they find them not only not interesting, but arguably repellent. And he picks it up unconsciously. And now I have a conservative living in my household that happens to have 4 gay moms and a black sister. So you tell me how that happened.
Yeah.
I don't mind it. I love it. I support him completely. I'm here to, indulge him in everything he is passionate about. Of course, obviously that are safe and healthy, which I think everything I listed is. But I didn't create this part of my son.
Right.
Hey, wait a minute, what the hell?
Damn, 4 gay moms and a black sister? Sheesh, what kind of household you running? I mean, I'm not judging, I'm just saying, like, damn. But then again, it just goes to show you how bad the situation is. If your son is living in a house with 4 gay moms and a black sister, and this is where he's at, I think that speaks a lot in itself. I think that says a lot in itself, to be honest with you.
Right, you're right. I think you're right. And the other thing I'll say is, look, you mentioned PBD, and think about what the overall messaging is. Like, leave the politics out of it. Just talk about the charisma of the panel and everything, and even the merch that's being sold. Right, the future looks bright.
Right.
It's pushing. It's like pushing this idea that, have a little optimism. We believe in you. You see something, you want to work hard and get it, go get it. People want an inspiring message as opposed to being scolded all the time. And I think the 100%. Democratic Party is thought of as the party of scolders, especially when it comes to men. And look, do I agree with Democrats when it comes to certain toxic things that exist, whether it be harassment of women in the workplace? Sure, I'm sure that exists. I'm sure it exists. However, the problem is when you just make a blanket statement about an entire group of people, it's unfair, it's politically stupid, and now Democrats are paying the consequences for that.
And rightfully so, because only a small percentage of men are committing these things that they complain about most. I mean, here's one of the things that I've picked up on, whether it's relationships or politics. Whenever people tend to generalize things that men do that would be considered bad, it's always a minority, bro. Have y'all noticed that? It's never like harassment, for example. Most men ain't doing that. And it's the same when you hear women having, especially black women, having a conversation about, all these black men getting all these women pregnant, having all these kids. But then when you look up the stats and you find out that more of the half black male population is childless, and black women outnumber black men, as black men, we're looking around like, where the fuck is this narrative coming from? I'm telling you, I see the shit. I see it.
Yes. Amen. And they have an affinity group for every single demographic under the sun except white men. I happen to love white men. I think they're the shit.
Well, no, wait. No. Here's the deal.
Okay.
They love white men when the white men are competing against the girls in women's sports.
Yes.
Now, this is a topic that I'm really fired up about that I think needs to be discussed because my mind was blown this week when I saw in California, when I saw the state champion for women's track and field in 2 events, stand on the podium, share the podium with what appeared to be a black, actually female athlete. So my mind was like warped here. I was like, wait a second here. The Democrat Party, the left, especially in California, has been telling us for at least the last 10 years that the group that they need to uphold the most are black women. And now they've got a white boy who has taken the first place spot from what appeared to be a black female athlete.
He's more marginalized.
And they don't see how sick that is. They're always down with the patriarchy. White men are awful. But if a white man says, I'm a woman, then all of a sudden they have now ascended themselves to the top of the ranking.
That's
and that's
precisely
why
right.
I argue liberalism is a disease and a mind virus, because you can't tell me for so many years that black women need to be uplifted, and now you've actively taken away a spot from a black woman to give to a white man, and that's the only white man you'll stand up for.
I'm not sure if it was that post or if it was from another post, but somebody pointed out this athlete, this male athlete masquerading as a woman who won, is the only one there out of all the athletes with a full face of makeup. These women athletes go there to compete at a high level, whereas this man needs to signal, no, I actually deserve to be here by plastering on a thick clown face. Like, it looks
That's so
ridiculous.
funny.
It looks out of place, and I'm glad people are calling it out, but this is just insane that it's even still happening, given Trump's executive order.
Well, it doesn't take effect
hold
until
on.
June 9th. That's why. Because they still have a few days to do their weird random shit. But I do want to say this is a hierarchy of grievance. And today, trans women are above black women in terms of who they should cater to and worship at the altar of. It's just frankly disgusting. And so they've been demonizing white men for basically 20, 30 years right now, and they expect them to come back into the fold? I don't think so.
And that's actually another great example too. Y'all made the LGBTQ community such a big issue. Again, small percentage of the population. I'm telling you, bro. Y'all keep trying to make these micro arguments, macro arguments. It ain't gonna work. Especially today's men with all this kind of content, whether it be RP content, manosphere content, or even someone the likes of a Charlie Kirk, Joe Rogan. Yeah, men are waking up and they're seeing the bullshit, and they're like, they're checking out. They're checking out. Instead of wasting $20 million, oh my God, that's gonna be such a waste. That's so dumb. It's like, or instead of sending Obama to shame men into voting for somebody else, how about you have Obama literally go out and speak to men? How about you do that? I don't know, bro. It's just sad to see. And again, I think it's dumb. It's unfortunate. But in my opinion, I think it's just going to be a waste of $20 million. But y'all let me know what you think about this. If you're new to the platform, please subscribe. OGs, I appreciate the love and support. Make sure y'all hit that bell notification. That way y'all know what I'm uploading. Hit the like button because it helps with the algorithm and helps me reach a broader audience. Also look out for the travel vlog channel as well as the live show channel. Both links are in the description. Until the next video, y'all. Deuces.